Let's bring Aziz Alghashian now, who's a Saudi foreign policy analyst and joins us live from Riyadh. Aziz, thank you very much for your time and for speaking to us here at TRT World. Let me start by asking your assessment, if you wouldn't mind, now that we have confirmation of the killings of both Ali Larijani and Soleimani from Tehran, just how significant are the deaths of these very key figures when it comes to the Iranian leadership, and what likely impact it might have on the Gulf region?
In my opinion, I think it is certainly significant. I think it signifies a lot of things, in my opinion. I mean, when people that are, far more, have far more expertise on Iran will say that this, the Iranian regime in itself is very complicated, was designed in a way to kind of withstand some of these shocks and some of these leadership kind of targeting. But in my opinion, I think what it is suggesting is that I think there's a different mode right now and a different objectives that I think the Israeli and military campaign is having. I think they know, the military and Israeli campaign, is that regime collapse or regime change is not necessarily tangible. And they've been indicating this. And I think some of these targets right now of Larijani and the Basij chief signifies that probably one of their core objectives that can be tangible is regime destruction. And I think in order for them to come out and say, listen, this is something that is actually successful, that we actually achieved one of our objectives strategically, was to destroy the regime, not necessarily change it or make it evolve. So I think, in my opinion, this is where it becomes very significant, because while many people are talking about that he was a pragmatist, he was an interlocutor, he was someone that you could do business with, the reality is, I think the entire environment inside Iran has changed, and we don't know what these pragmatists would have been like after the war had ceased or stopped. So I think, in my opinion, we're entering into more of a regime destruction phase. And I think this means they're just trying to weaken the regime as much as possible. And to be honest, I mean, the potential spillover of this can be significant and have long-term ramifications for the Gulf. If there's going to be a failed regime and a failed state. So, but time will tell. Time will tell.
You mentioned the negotiation side of things there, Aziz. Now, Larijani in particular was somewhat of a balancing figure. Is the concern now that these key figures are likely to be replaced, or could potentially be replaced, with even more hardline appointments? And how much of a concern would that then be for the Gulf nations, which are already coming under attack by Iran?
Yeah, I think this is correct. I think this is a genuine concern, and basically that these pragmatists are themselves being targeted, and basically we're just entering into a phase where there's going to be more, there's going to be a far more robust approach that they have in Iran. I think these interlocutors themselves are just getting targeted one by one. So it is the making of a more difficult future for Gulf-Iran relations in the day after. And I think it's just going to, basically create more grievances and more extremism. And I think, the fact that this could be then manipulated domestically and otherwise or used and said, listen, even the very people that wanted to talk are actually targeting, which illustrates the fact that we are now under threat. And this only, I think, strengthens the position of an existential threat that they face. It just strengthens the notion of that they have to be more more aggressive in the future. So I think it is difficult. These people that are kind of being targeted one by one, and it just creates more uncertainty. I mean, who else could we, which IP address can we talk to? Who do we talk with now? And it's just becoming more and more difficult and more uncertain. And I think this is also something for the near term, is that because I think both the president and the foreign minister both have been undermined by the IRGC. There is no trust with them because they kept saying things that the IRGC really kept negating. So now there's just really more difficulty in ascertaining who can we be talking with. So there's just such a more foggy approach now, and a more foggy kind of outlook, and just it's more uncertain. And I think that's really the most imminent danger that we have. And also, this may even show that, well, they may pick up and act more, or they may pick up the pace of attacks, and they may even be more aggressive, and they may be more dire. So it is concerning for the short term as well. There's no doubt about that.
And presumably this could make the regime more resistant, Aziz, to any compromise, any de-escalation, any off-ramp to this war.
Yes. Well, they were already resistant to diplomacy beforehand. This is also something to bear in mind, because the reason being is that they felt that they were attacked by the United States twice when they were in negotiations. So they already, before even the war started, or just as the war started, they kept saying, "Listen, we were attacked twice," and diplomacy in itself seems to be a trap. So even more off ramps now and are being kind of overlooked, and so it seems that right now the path of both, I think, the campaign of the United States and Israel in Iran is really about regime destruction. It's about just creating such a situation in Iran that it just makes it very discombobulated, and it just makes it really a bureaucratically or systemically difficult to overcome. And I think that's one of the objectives that they are trying to achieve here. And I think this just, again, makes it more difficult for the day after. Who do you negotiate with? And so I think it's just more uncertain. Every day we're getting more uncertainties and more uncertainties.
Indeed. Aziz, really appreciate your thoughts and your time. Thank you very much.